Welcome to Daniel Morgan Graduate School. My name is Frank Fletcher, Director of Lectures and Seminars. We're very honored today to have the Ambassador of the Republic of Poland with us. Introducing Professor Wilczek will be our Executive Vice President and Special Counsel, Mr. Alan Kelly.
Thank you, Frank. Well, you finally caught me. I'm in my traveling car. I'm going out to Scottsdale, and I picked the wrong week to do it. I guess the wrong time to do it. You know, it's back 70, and it's 70 here now after a cold snap, so I can't seem to catch it right. Anyway, I'm very, very pleased to have with us today the Ambassador of the Republic of Poland, Dr. Piotr Wilczek. He's been ambassador here for a year. He's the native of Warsaw, Poland, and previously he was a professor at the University of Warsaw. He's just written a book, and you have to tell us a little bit about that, deviate from your comments, Mr. Ambassador, on Unitarians. So I'm interested in hearing a little bit about that. Through the leadership of Julian Kolsky from the board and our staff, we've been able to have our second cohort of Polish certificate students, and we're very, very pleased about that. So I want to recognize all of you. So can you stand up? Yeah. The ambassador's subject today is energy, which really flows into our upcoming Institute on Energy and its geopolitical implications. So with that, Mr. Ambassador, thank you for coming. Warm round of applause for you.
Thank you very much for this warm invitation, and my many thanks to all of you who are involved in inviting me, but first of all, I would like to mention Dr. Julian Kulski, a dear old friend and a Polish hero and a great Polish American. So thank you very much for this inspiration and for recommending this lecture. I'm very happy to be here and to see so many students from Poland, although my lecture will be in English, if you don't mind, because it's really bilingual. It's really bilingual, but it's in English. So when I was asked about the topic, I decided that energy security is, as you all know, a very important part of security in general. Actually, today in the morning, I had a meeting with a group of students from Ohio who are taking part, I think, today and tomorrow in Washington in a kind of war games, and they are representing Poland in NATO. So so they wanted to tell them a little about Poland's role in NATO and about Poland's security, and I actually mentioned this lecture later today, and they said, okay, so tell us something about energy security. So I did it for like 10 minutes and we realized how it's all interconnected, security in general, NATO and energy security. So again, it's my great pleasure to be here and talk to you about what is one of the pillars of transatlantic relations, energy security. For a country located in the center of Europe, it is a matter of the highest importance. Having experienced various cut-offs and hurdles with gas deliveries over the years, while being almost totally dependent on one single supplier, Russia, Polish authorities have been working hard to improve the situation and become fully energy secure. We have made great progress, but there is still work ahead of us. Poland annually uses 17 billion cubic meters of gas, of which 76% is imported from abroad. Gas deliveries from the east account for almost 80% of total imports. That's the situation today, right now, 80% from Russia. The rest being Qatari and US LNG, as well as piped gas from the West. We consume slightly over 25 million tons of crude oil, out of which around, again, 80% comes from Russia. Although the share of non-Russian suppliers, including the United States, has been slowly rising. The Polish government has been advocating for the liberalization of LNG trade and US crude oil exports for many years. Since December 2015, it is possible for US allies in Europe to purchase American crude. The decision made by Congress has had a positive impact on the liquidity of the world market. However, in our view, what is even more important is that this decision has offered countries in our region an alternative source of supply, which has enhanced our position vis-à-vis traditional suppliers from the East and has strengthened our energy security. When I'm saying from the East, you know what it means. I don't want to mention one country too often, but it's mostly, of course, the Russian Federation. The United States is blessed with rich and vast reserves of shale gas deposits, which combined with American state-of-the-art technology and an extraordinary human capital have revolutionized the gas and oil markets around the world. Because as you know, as recently as a dozen years ago, the United States was working on securing deliveries of gas to America, and companies were building regasification facilities. The shale revolution has shifted the landscape, and now some of those importing LNG terminals are exporting American gas. Extra volumes of US LNG exports and LNG cargoes that were not imported by the US have been playing a crucial role in liquefying the market and diversifying energy supplies around the world, including Poland. The government of Poland has been strongly supporting the liberalization of LNG trade in bilateral discussions with the US administration and policymakers in Washington. We consider LNG as a viable and feasible way to diversify supplies, haggle down costs, and also improve energy security among NATO allies in Europe. We believe, as Poland, that US LNG exports can have a substantial impact on decreasing the European Union's dependence on natural gas imports from Russia. These US exports are becoming an alternative source of supplies that will be crucial in case of serious disruptions of deliveries from the East. LNG can also help reduce the high gas prices in Central and Eastern Europe, which are the results of monopolistic practices of Russia as the dominant supplier. From the geopolitical perspective, US LNG would also help reduce the use of gas deliveries as an instrument on foreign policy by Russia, which we have witnessed since 1989. Understanding clearly the importance of energy security, we did not limit our efforts to discussions only, but decided to lead by example and practice diversification. In order to strengthen our energy security and be able to import US LNG, Poland has constructed an LNG import terminal in Świnoujście. Very difficult to pronounce, but half of this room knows how to pronounce it, Świnoujście. With a 5 billion cubic meters regasification capacity in the first phase and 7.5 billion in the second phase. This terminal provides not only stable gas supplies to our country, but also to our neighbors in Central and Eastern Europe. The planned interconnectors with Slovakia, Czech Republic, Lithuania and Ukraine will create a large and integrated market with Świnoujście as the gateway. The first delivery of US gas to the LNG import terminal in Świnoujście, I'm just repeating this name you should remember it. It's Świnoujście is one of the most strategic places in Europe now because of this. So the first delivery of US gas to the LNG import terminal in Świnoujście on June the 8th of last year was a milestone for the region's strive for diversification of sources. Poland was the first country in Central Europe to buy US gas. Some critics argued that the June delivery was only a spot cargo and its importance was minimal. I could not disagree more. In my view, it was a breakthrough which signaled that US LNG can compete on the European market and be an alternative to the existing suppliers. Evidence of this came in November 2017, last year, when the largest Polish gas company signed a 5-year contract for deliveries of LNG from Sabine Pass facility in Louisiana. Actually, I was there a few months ago in December, and with our foreign minister, it's impressive. It's well at the border of I think Texas and Louisiana, Sabine Pass. So anyway, it was the first midterm contract for LNG from the United States in Central and Eastern Europe. Poland highly appreciates the cooperation of the United States administration and Congress, which plays a crucial role in ensuring Europe's long-term energy security. The conflict in Ukraine confirmed the importance of Europe's energy security, and especially the Central and Eastern European region, as a critical pillar of transatlantic cooperation. We are pleased that we share a similar position with the US on a number of energy issues, like infrastructure development and diversification, and we see a need for Washington's further engagement in the Central and Eastern European region. The visit by President Trump to Warsaw in July 2017, as well as US LNG exports and the military presence of American troops on Polish soil, are solid examples of our expanding strategic partnership. We are greatly pleased to hear President Trump's words during his visit to Warsaw, where he underlined that America stands ready to help Poland and other nations diversify their energy supplies so that you can never be held hostage to a single supplier. End of quote. This was President Trump. US LNG deliveries, together with the new interconnectors that are being built, which will allow the distribution of gas to our partners and allies in the region, are a viable and feasible way to diversify our supplies. Just wanted to emphasize that again. We should bear in mind that our region until recently was almost totally dependent on only one supplier of gas. Building the LNG terminal and moving forward with the Baltic Pipe project, which will connect the Norwegian continental shelf in Norway with Poland, we hope in 2022, and bring alternative gas to the region, has helped to dismantle the system of dependence on supplies from the East that we inherited from the Cold War. A system dominated by Russia, which did not hesitate to use its privileged position in the region to dictate terms of cooperation. With US and Norwegian gas being delivered to Central and Eastern Europe through Poland, Russia will no longer be able to coerce US allies in the region using energy as a political tool. Our LNG terminal in Świnoujście, together with the Baltic Pipe, are pillars of a Northern Gate concept, which is a strategically important element of the North-South corridor. Together with the planned LNG terminal on the Croatian island of Krk, Krk is even more difficult than Świnoujście, and necessary interconnectors, it will create a system of bidirectional gas transit in the north-south route, complementing the existing east-west oriented gas transit system. It is also a part of the 3 Seas initiative, a project undertaken by 12 presidents of Central European countries, a project that aims to preserve and strengthen the unity within the European Union and in the Euro-Atlantic zone. These countries are Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Austria, Poland, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, Croatia, Slovenia, Romania, and Bulgaria. 12 countries of Central and Eastern Europe, surrounded by the Baltic, Adriatic, and Black Seas. So the name of the project is the Three Seas Initiative. All these countries are members of the European Union, but the core idea of this initiative is to improve connections in Central and Eastern Europe from the north to the south. It's not only about gas supplies, it's about infrastructure, about roads, about business exchange, about communication, about telecommunication, how to improve north-south connections, because as you know, the development of the European Union, also of NATO, was from the west to the east. So there are very good connections, from the west to the east, but not really from the north to the south. And for example, when we fly from one capital to another, we very often should go first to Germany and then back to another friendly country in Central Europe, because there are no connections. It's also about more flights, it's more roads, more train connections. So there are already many plans being implemented, and the idea was actually that, as you know, President Trump's visit to Warsaw was at the same time a meeting with 12 presidents of these countries. So his visit was to Poland as a kind of hub, as a kind of center, but at the same time he met presidents of these 12 countries. His speech to these presidents was mainly about energy cooperation, but also about other kinds of business cooperation. So this was a very practical visit, and this is also a project which I believe will change the European Union, because none of these countries wants to leave the European Union really, but they have different histories, different ideas about their development. So this is not an anti-German project, as some people say, because all these countries have good economic relations with Germany, and we invite German companies to be involved in all these projects. The president of Croatia, Kolinda Grabar-Kitarović, told me that when she met President Putin, this is another story why she met President Putin, she also was trying to encourage Russia to take part in the Three Seas Initiative. It's a very risky idea, but anyway, I don't think will involve Russia. But anyway, so this is the whole energy issue with all these pipelines and US LNG supplies is also about the Three Seas Initiative. But there is one more issue, extremely important. It's Nord Stream 2. I don't know if you heard about Nord Stream 2. A new pipeline going from Russia to Germany through the Baltic Sea and bypassing Poland and Ukraine. This project put our diversification efforts at risk and threatens is really a threat for Europe. Poland finds the Nord Stream 2 project to be visibly marked with geopolitics. Again, Russian, German pipeline bypassing Central Europe, Poland, Ukraine, with aims to strengthen the position of Russia as a major gas supplier to Europe, while simultaneously limiting or possibly eliminating the transit of Russian gas through the Central and Eastern European region, including Ukraine. Poland remains a devoted friend of Ukraine, regardless of what some people say. Geopolitically, geostrategically, it's of crucial importance, this relationship. We consider the Ukrainian transit system as stable and reliable, hence crucial for the energy security of the region and the EU as a whole. Therefore, claims that the aim of Nord Stream 2 is to avoid risks related to transit countries are unjustified. Every project which facilitates the sidestepping of Ukraine weakens the already difficult economic situation of this country, its negotiation position in talks with Russia, and distorts the balance of power between Russia and transit states, thereby opening the region to more coercive policies of the Russian Federation. In our opinion, the expansion plans to build additional strings of the Nord Stream pipeline, which already exists, is Nord Stream 2, are unjustified in light of the European Union's dependence on gas supplies from the east, as well as unused capacities on existing supply transit routes from Russia to the European Union. Concentration of 80% of gas supplies from Russia in one route would diminish the energy security of Europe. It would also limit the competition of the alternative sources, including US LNG exports in the market. So it's anyway, we have a discussion about that. We are satisfied that our position is well understood and supported by the US administration. We are pleased to hear just over 2 weeks ago, when Secretary Tillerson was in Warsaw, his comments delivered in Warsaw when he said, I quote, "Like Poland, the United States opposes the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. We see it as undermining Europe's overall energy security and stability, and it provides Russia yet another tool to politicize energy as a political tool." Strange quotation, tool and tool, but anyway, I hope this is a quotation. But that's what he said. I was there. We were very, very pleased. We even didn't expect such a strong message from the Secretary, knowing about all these issues with the European Union about Nord Stream 2, that the position of the United States will be expressed so firmly and so openly. We appreciate the fact that the US Congress in the CAATSA law, CAATSA is Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act, CAATSA, recognized the use of energy exports as a political tool by the Russian Federation, stressed the importance of Ukrainian gas transit for the security of the region, and expressed US opposition towards Nord Stream 2. So it's like both the administration and the Congress, which is actually very important. We are heartened that Congress, in laying out US policy, stated that America will, I quote, "continue to oppose the Nord Stream 2 pipeline given its detrimental impacts on the European Union's energy security, gas market development in Central and Eastern Europe, and energy reforms in Ukraine," end of quote. We hope that the US administration will use any means possible to implement the policy and help to stop this detrimental project. We firmly support the independence and territorial integrity of Ukraine and strongly condemn Russian aggression in Ukraine. We must not forget about the ongoing war in Donbass, the illegal annexation of Crimea, and numerous violations of human rights on the peninsula. We are of the opinion that sanctions against Russia cannot be lifted or even softened until the Minsk agreements are implemented and until Ukraine regains its full territorial integrity, including Crimea. This is the position of the Republic of Poland. In our view, Section 232 of the law, CAATSA law, gives US diplomacy a potentially very effective tool to convince the Russian Federation to implement and comply with the Minsk agreement, which would significantly improve the security situation in Ukraine and the energy security of our region. We hope that the sanctions provisions will be implemented in line with the letter and spirit of the CAATSA law. We shall remember that the Nord Stream 2 project itself has divided the European Union first, and not the US sanction policies. In my view, interests of a particular private enterprises in some European Union countries should neither set goals nor drive state foreign policies. We as the European Union should work closely with the US administration to align our efforts and sanction policies to bring peace and stability in Ukraine. Nevertheless, we shall not hesitate to reach for tools that, sometimes disliked, are possibly very effective and can help us achieve our main goal, that is fully sovereign and independent Ukraine. It's a very diplomatic expression. Tools that sometimes disliked are possibly very effective. I mean sanctions. Dear friends, I'm confident that through close cooperation in the energy and security sphere, we can bring our countries closer together. I hope that one day you will get a chance to create and lead your country's policies in security and foreign policy areas, and maybe some of you will specialize in energy security. I am confident that your knowledge and future experience will enable you to do it thoroughly and farsightedly with great benefit to your country. Now I see to both our countries. I wasn't expecting such a huge group of Polish students. So I wish you all very best, and if you have any questions, remarks, comments, you are very, very, very welcome.